Vice President Harris showed me that even when the path changes, the purpose doesn't. You keep showing up with authenticity, strength, and grace.
Grace under fire and joy in every step. Vice President Kamala Harris, thank you for leading with integrity, with honor, and with purpose.
Vice President Harris has showed me the true power of grace, resilience, and the courage to keep showing up for what you believe in.
Vice President Harris reminds me that ceilings are meant to be broken. As the first woman, the first Black woman, and the first South Asian woman to serve as President of the United States, she shows us what is possible.
Vice President Harris has shown me that anything and everything is possible when you show up, take action, and run your race.
Vice President Harris showed me that regardless of the outcome, as long as you gave it your all, hold your head up high, process, and move on with grace.
Kamala Harris has inspired me to be the woman that I am today, to go after my dreams and never stop until I make it to the top.
Vice President Kamala Harris inspires me because she shattered many barriers and leads with grace, strength, and integrity.
Harris continues to inspire me to show up, glow up, and turn pressure into power every single time.
Vice President Harris inspires me to approach every opportunity with purpose, poise, and the belief that impact has no limits. Her journey is a reminder that every barrier broken opens the door for someone else to walk through.
Vice President Kamala Harris has shown me that leadership is about courage and compassion. She inspires me to lead with purpose every single day.
Vice President Harris's leadership inspired me to believe our lives are God-written stories, and if we exercise our faith, our true purpose will be revealed.
Vice President Kamala Harris's leadership really showed me her tenacity, and she inspired me as a leader to not only break the glass ceiling, but to shatter it.
Vice President Harris has taught me to use my voice, not just for myself, but others, to pursue justice and truth, and to not be discouraged by obstacles that may come in my path.
Vice President Kamala Harris is C3. She's cool, she's calm, and she's collected. She is the epitome of when persistence and grit comes together to make a pearl.
Vice President Kamala Harris's leadership has served as a reminder to me to shift and move, but keep on leading and keep on being out front where the people need you.
From campuses to communities and from classrooms to conversations, her story continues to shape a new generation of leaders, young women and men who now believe that courage and conviction can change the world. Today we gather inside the historic Wilton Theater to reflect, to connect, and to celebrate the movement that began with 107 Days. A movement that reminds us that progress is never accidental. It's the product of purpose, persistence, and people who dare to believe in something greater. This is something more than a movement. It's a message.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Tamira Chapman, and tonight's conversation is historic and deeply personal. We're joined by the first Black woman, the first woman, and the first person of Asian descent to ever be elected as vice president. And then the first Black woman to ever receive the nomination from a major political party to be our candidate for president of the United States. In other words, the most powerful woman in the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's so good to be with all of you.
It's an honor and a privilege to be with you. Madam Vice President, your work and your leadership has already shown and transcended what women believe is possible in terms of leadership and how we show up in the world. And in your book, 107 Days, you're lifting the curtain, you're taking us behind the scenes, and you're giving us a peek into the most fast-paced and the most historic race that this country's ever seen. And we are so excited that you gave us the opportunity to really understand what it took for you to rise to this occasion and then leave us the nuggets to turn around and inspire us to attempt to do the same. That's right. Yeah, that's right. And also joining me to help lead this conversation tonight
Madam Vice President, I am Melissa Butler. I am the founder and CEO of The Lip Bar. We are one of the most prominent Black-owned makeup companies in this country. I am such a fan and so honored to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
And I'm Kiera Nixon, a communication strategist and advocate for social justice, and I had the pleasure of serving as regional director in your Harris Walks campaign in the state of Florida.
And thank you for that.
Thank
you did a great job.
Thank you.
Madam Vice President, in 107 days, you write about those first moments where President Biden told you he'd support you and you started making the calls in your sweatshirt, hair pinned up in a ponytail.
In my Howard sweatshirt.
In your Howard sweatshirt. And one by one, the nation's leaders responded with love and faith in you. And so just going through reading the book and listening to that roll call, Hillary Clinton said, "Oh my God, I'm so relieved. Send me anywhere and make this your own campaign." Yeah. Jim Clyburn said, "Let's go. I'm all in." Josh Shapiro, "You have my support." Wes Moore, "You've been loyal and I respect that." Pete Buttigieg, "You're going to be a fantastic president." Roy Cooper, "Before you say anything, I'm all in." Chuck Schumer, "I believe we'll win with you at the head of the ticket." Gretchen Whitmer, "I believe you'll win." And Mark Kelly tweeted his endorsement before you even had a chance to call him. That was an extraordinary outpouring of confidence and belief. What did that feel like to you in that moment?
So first of all, it's so wonderful to have this conversation with everybody also who's watching and the time that everyone has taken. So I really do appreciate that. You know, that day, so that was a Sunday, and our family was staying with us at the Vice President's residence. So it included my niece with her husband and their 2 young daughters. And the house was just brimming with activity. And I had promised the girls, who were 6 and 8 at the time, because I was campaigning, and the night before campaigning for the Biden-Harris ticket. I got in very late after midnight, but I promised them the next morning I would make pancakes and bacon and sausage. And you know how children are. They listen and they take it very seriously. So we had an agreement that they would come at 7:30, because I knew I was getting in way after midnight, right? And promptly at 7:30, auntie, right? And so we had our breakfast as planned. We had our family breakfast, and I was sitting down with the girls to do a puzzle at a table like this, and cross-legged on the floor. Still hadn't showered, had, you know, in my scrunchie and my sweatshirt, and we're doing a puzzle. And then my phone rang, and it was from a blocked number, which was always the president calling. And I got up to take the call, and that's when he told me he decided not to run. So as you can imagine, as I've set the scene, that was completely unexpected at this moment. And then everything had to get into high gear. And that included that day, among many things, my team, who on a Sunday afternoon, from wherever they were, dropped everything to come, and we turned the dining room that had formerly been pancakes and sausages into a war room. And on that long table, everyone showed up with their laptops for me to make what ended up being over 100 calls that day to former presidents, to party leaders, to union leaders, to faith leaders, letting them know that the president had dropped out and had endorsed me, and I intended to run. And so it was an extraordinary day. And to your point, the kind of feedback that I received really was very warm and supportive and enthusiastic. And that was the first day of those 107 days. I felt the weight, the gravity. In fact, so much so that everything happened very fast, as you can tell. And there was a moment a couple hours into it, I was like, I know I need some grounding right now. And I called my pastor. So we could just pray. And because I was so aware, to your point, of what that moment meant.
Madam Vice President, your campaign started with your Howard sweatshirt on, and it ended at Howard.
Yes.
As a FAMU alum, I have always admired how you have reminded us of the beauty and the history and the culture of HBCUs. I would love for you to tell us a little bit more how it shaped your voice and it shaped your confidence while you are on these national stages.
In so many ways. I mean, I've always said, and those of us who have been blessed to attend an HBCU have a shared experience of knowing what it is like to be in an environment where everything and everyone tells you you can be and do anything, and that you will be supported and encouraged. And, listen, having been, the first of many things in my career, I have always attributed my success to an incredible family and my Howard University experience and family. The first elected office I ever ran for was freshman class representative at Howard University. And let me tell you something, that was one of the toughest campaigns I've ever did.
HBCUs
are hard. You got to walk around campus and ask people to shake your hand, and they're going to ask you, what are you going to do for me?
Exactly.
And it's just, and being at that stage of life, when we're in college, those are the years of one's life where you really start to form a sense of who you are in relation to the world. You know who you are in relation to the community in which you grew up. You know who you are in relation to your family. But then you start meeting people from all, and for Howard, and so from so many of our HBCUs, not only people from all over the country, but all over the world. And when you are in an environment at that stage of life where you are being reminded of what is expected of you, and that you are expected to live in the honor of the legacy that brought you to that moment, it's such an important understanding that lasts a lifetime about the responsibility we have to service, to excellence, to ambition, right? I mean, that's one of the things I think we just always have to do, especially with our young people, is applaud their ambition, encourage their ambition. Don't let the forces that exist make them feel small or alone. So I attribute all of that to a lot of that to that experience. Yeah.
I want to piggyback off of Tamara's question and how she said you felt Black women all over supporting you. And one of the most powerful moments that you write about is the call heard all around the world, the call that you had with Win with Black Women Zoom call, where it galvanized support from so many Black women. Can you tell us what that moment meant for you?
It was, it's just, I write about that, and I also in the book write about, for example, our sororities and fraternities and our Divine Nine family, and what it means to be in a moment, in a room, in that case, a virtual room, with people with whom you share a life experience in a way that it is a very safe place, a place of understanding, and a shared sense of accomplishment. I think that's one of the things with Win with Black Women, whether it be the sisterhood, whether you are in a sorority or not, the fraternity, the brotherhood, right? But being in a place where we are having a shared experience of mutual pride and joy, right? And it is about knowing that this is about all of us. And that's what that moment felt like. And there were a few moments during the 107 days, and certainly in my life, where that's been the case. You know, and I write about, for example, I went to the Boulé for Zetas, and when I was in that room, part of what it was, and I was very candid in the way I wrote about it, you know, when you're running for president of the United States, you need to put on armor.
The full armor of the Lord.
You do. You really do. And walking into that room with those thousands and thousands of women, and there were men there too, of course, and I knew I could take off my armor to walk in that room. And being in that room, I didn't even need to say that much for all of the presence of all of us there together, what it spoke. That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And you followed it up by saying, and you knew the moment you walked out the room, you had to put that armor.
Put that armor right back on.
But it felt like, at least for a moment, you could have peace. You could rest.
Yeah.
And you knew that you were in the comfort and safety of family and sisters that loved you deeply.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Something else that really struck me, and it was one of the most vulnerable parts of the book when you spoke about it was your birthday and how the team worked so hard to finally carve out a moment for you and Doug. But when you finally had this moment, you were simply exhausted. And he was too. And it's primarily because he supports you, he loves you, you know, but he's seeing like the sort of pressure, the attacks that are coming your way. That's right. And it's like, so how do we as very ambitious women like still follow that dream, but also like strike the appropriate balance with our family and make sure that we stay protected? What was the big takeaway?
I think this would be the advice, I mean, that I certainly give to the young women I mentor, to anybody. Be intentional about creating in your life that safe place. Be intentional about choosing in that place in your life, in that innermost circle, people who applaud you, people who will not judge you. They will have some understanding of what you're going through. You can laugh at the thing you're not supposed to laugh at. You can say the words you may not say in church. You can cry, but you can be. You know, those people who will say, girl, you need a mint. Or if you trip and fall, they will laugh at you and with you, but then pick you up and push you back out there. Because life, for all of us, whatever we do or choose to do, it's going to have those ups and downs. And if you are intentional about choosing to have, to the extent you can choose, people in your life, whether it be, for example, I mean, my husband, who is so incredibly supportive, I feel very blessed. You know, my sister that my mother gave me, and then my sister that is my chosen sister, my best friend, like those people in your life, that's what gets you through. I mean, my best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? So but being intentional about that. And, you know, I made a decision a long time ago. I don't want mean people in my life. Like among those that I can choose to be in my life, I decided I don't want that. And that's what I mean about being intentional, to the extent you have a right to choose who you share your life with, right? Yeah.
It sounds like you operate with a lot of balance while obviously still being under a lot of pressure. And just reading through the book, I noticed, like, you know, essentially all of the data and the polling and, you know, all of the reactions and all the iterations that you guys made. How do you remain authentic in that moment while also taking in and fielding all of these external opinions?
So I made a decision that I was not going to ride a roller coaster. So I wasn't going to ride the highs or the lows, because I was so aware I had 107 days, and the stakes, as we know, were, I mean, beyond enormous. And So I made a decision to stay focused. And that every day, and my prayer every night was, God, please let me have done everything I could do with this day. Because, I needed to talk with people. We had policies that were including, one of the things I took care of my mother when she was sick. She had cancer. But I had a job where I could actually leave and be okay, right? But so many people are taking care of, if they're in the sandwich generation, taking care of young kids and their elderly relatives, their parents. And they need help. They're barely making it. And so part of my policy was to have Medicare cover home health care, so that that individual, who usually is a woman, would not have to quit her job and worry about how to pay rent or pay a mortgage or pay for groceries, just to do the basic stuff, taking care of her children, taking care of an elderly relative. And so those were the things that I needed to let people know. With 107 days, I needed to talk with people. I needed to listen to people. So I could not be distracted. Not that I wasn't ever distracted, because of course, people can be, in terms of the attacks can be awful, but
and they were.
And they were. But my whole focus was on the people, knowing that we could actually do something that would make people's lives better.
So no matter what the media said, you were focused on your goals, your campaign, and helping the people.
I'm not going to say that I was, I'm not a robot. I have feelings. But I knew that there had to be, for me, in terms of my energy and my spirit, a higher purpose. And frankly, that it wasn't about me. That why I was doing it was not about me. So that is part of what probably allowed me to deal with some of the personal attacks.
Every decision during those 107 days mattered, from your message to your tone of voice, even your moments of silence. How did you determine which battles were worth fighting for in that moment and which required more patience?
Well, part of it is I was aware of my opponent's strategy, and I wasn't about to fall prey or fall into those traps. And part of his strategy and those around him was to try and take me off our game and message. And I wasn't about to be distracted by those flames that he was trying to throw to get me away from my highest priority, which was talking to people about the economy and their well-being in terms of their financial well-being. And so I understood the game that was being played, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to get played. And
chess, not checkers. Got it.
Chess, not checkers.
Yeah, three-dimensional chess, I'm telling you,
You mentioned that there was a day when you were in the motorcade and you rode by a group of angry protesters. And you would have just loved at that point to be able to stop, get out the car, and say, what are you so angry about?
Yeah.
But of course, that was not an option made available to you. So what would you have said to those protesters then, and potentially even now?
I would have asked, what I would have said would have been in the form of a question, which, as much as anything, the question would be, how are you doing? What is keeping you up at night? What are you afraid of? What are your hopes and dreams? I mean, listen, I'm on this book tour, and one of the reasons I wrote the book is, yes, I want to make sure that when this part of American history is told, that my voice is present. That's right. In the telling. But another piece of it is, especially in the tour, is I really believe that one of the biggest challenges we're facing as a country, which is going to require deep work, is dealing with trust. And two types in particular. One, whether people trust the system, including their government, and why not? And I have theories on why not. Because the point being, is their government working for them? The other is, and I think it's really deep, the distrust that the American people have for each other. And the concern not just about, can I, leave my door unlocked at night, but can I trust that you are not a threat to my very existence? It's deep. And we have some work to do on that. And part of that requires talking and listening and really sincerely meaning the question, how are you doing? Right? So.
When I think about Black women and the amount of education we've amassed, the home ownership that we have, Black women are just crushing it. But often I feel like Black women have this tension between, who they are and the mission that they are trying to accomplish. I want to know if you faced any of that tension when you were on your mission, especially considering that your mission was race agnostic, gender agnostic. You were trying to do the work that the country needed. Did you find that you faced tension of that sort?
Well, here's the thing. I think that, first of all, and I will speak about, I wrote about it in the book, I think the Democratic Party has taken Black women for granted. There are very specific issues that impact Black women in America that should be some of the highest priorities. I made them priorities when I was vice president, such as Black maternal mortality. One of among the stakes that I knew was president in the election included whether or not we were going to pay attention to, let's say, specific health needs around like issues like postpartum care, maternity, right, support, and then you look at what's happening now with this guy in office, and they're cutting funding for scientific research if it has the word woman or Black in it. Right? So, for example, important research that still needs to be done around fibroids. Right? All of that. So, to your point, I am never going to shy away from who I am, and I'm never going to feel burdened that because of who I am in terms of my race and my gender, that I should pretend to not be.
Yeah. I said, wait a minute, she went to Howard. She's an AKA. What do y'all mean?
Yeah, but that was also about, again, trying to deflect from accomplishment, credibility, and what I stand for and what I was prepared to do for the country, right? And it's also, look, there's still so much work that is being done, and therefore we need to do to counteract an attempt to divide our nation on many levels, including on race. And that's just we got to speak truth about that. Everybody, regardless of your race, right?
Thank you. Madam Vice President, you said in your speech after the election at Howard, you said you couldn't just say you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
So instead, you said sometimes the fight takes a while, but that
right.
doesn't mean that we don't win.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You're home tonight.
Yeah.
And our audience is full of our Divine Nine members.
Yeah.
The Links Incorporated, Jack and Jill, you name them, we're present.
Yeah.
What do we say to understand how we win today? How do we take all of that collective energy and power that we put behind your campaign and stay ready?
First of all, I reflect on those 107 days, and part of it was that there was an incredible amount of optimism and sense of the possibilities, and dare I say, joy. And I want to remind everyone, that's in you. That's in you. And everyone brought that to those 107 days, but it's in you. And we cannot let any one election or individual dampen that light that we all carry. And let us be able to see it in each other. And then, we know, especially in moments of darkness, we have to let that light shine a path for us. But part of our light is we also understand that our optimism is directly connected as fuel to the fight. So we're not just going to sit around with a smile on our face. We're going to, with the optimism that we have and the joy it brings us, we're going to go out, and whether it's joining a peaceful protest, getting involved in an election, volunteering for a nonprofit, being active with the Links or all of the organizations, right? Being active, being present, because anybody watching this is a role model. And right now, the modeling that we each can do has exponential impact. Because anybody watching this right now, I know that we know this. There are people in your life that are watching you always to have an idea of what they should be doing, how they should be thinking, how they should be living. And so we can't have our head, under the covers saying, "Wake me up when it's over."
We considered it.
Right, I know.
We certainly considered that approach.
And that is understandable. But this many months now that we're into it, let's get out there and be active and continue to inspire the way that we uniquely can,
Madam Vice President, from the bottom of our hearts, we really want to thank you for 107 days of unspeakable joy, because that is what it represented for all of us. And so, although we didn't get the result we wanted this time, the dream that you put inside of us will go forward through our children and every little girl that saw you on that stage. So now we all know what we're capable of. I'm certain that it wasn't an easy yes, but you did it, and you did it with authority and with grace, and you made us proud. And I thank God for your mother for putting such wonderful things inside of you that allowed you to answer this call with an emphatic yes. So we'll say to you, we did it, Madam Vice President. Okay, we did it. We did it. And today we're going to be joined by a few young ladies that would just love to express their gratitude to you.
Okay.
And before we have them come in, I just want to thank everybody else tonight for tuning in. And of course, you heard Madam Vice President and her call. It's time for us to pick ourselves up and get back out there. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Madam Vice President, I present to you the Iota Beta chapter of Alpha Kappa Incorporated.
Oh my goodness! Look at you! Oh my goodness!
Madam Vice President Harris, thank you for showing me what it means to lead with grace and speak with purpose. You have inspired me to lead with confidence in every room I have entered.
Oh my goodness, look at all of you. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, look at you guys. Oh my goodness, we're gonna be, wait, oh, this is a good chapter.
Madam Vice President, thank you so much for showing up as your authentic and tenacious self. It's allowed me to do the same and encourage others through advocacy and service. Here are your flowers. Madam Vice President, thank you for everything that you've taught me about perseverance. Your quote that you don't let people tell you who you are, you show them who you are, has been a North Star for me. Thank you for everything. And here are your flowers.
All that you've done, you've really shown us what it is to lead with intelligence, confidence, speak with grace, lead with purpose, and all those things and above. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We can't thank you enough for being who you are and showing us what excellence means to you and how we can use that in our everyday lives.
That's right.
For our future endeavors. So we wish you the best. And
thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. Look at that. Look at these beautiful pink roses. Oh, these are beautiful.
Hi, Madam VP.
I want to say thank you so much for continuing your legacy and inspiring little girls like me to continue in the field of law and policymaking. Because of you, I am entering a field of justice and liberation. Thank you so much, and here are your flowers.
Dear Madam Vice President Harris, my name is Oluwatobiloba Adesanya, and I want to thank you for all of your hard work. As a Nigerian and first-generation college student, you are the embodiment of the American dream, and I aspire to continue to pave the way for others the way that you have. Here are your flowers.
Dear Madam Vice President, my name is Malikte Helemisko. Thank you for being a bold and fearless leader. As a first-generation American and college student, you've taught me to follow my dreams without any fear. Thank you, and here are your flowers.
Madam Vice President Harris, you have shown me that no dream is too big and that Black women should be everywhere where big decisions are made. So I want to say thank you, and here are your flowers.
Madam Vice President, you are a true visionary, and you continuously inspire me to lead with grace and honesty and encourage me to remember that being Black, intelligent, and compassionate is powerful beyond measure. And here are your flowers.
Hi, Madam Vice President Harris. My name is Winter Chambers, and I just want to say that you've shown me that being the first and the only in the room isn't just about fulfilling a promise to yourself. It's about establishing a legacy for those who come behind you. Thank you, and here are your flowers.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. You've shown me in America that true leadership means walking with confidence and humility hand in hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And here are your flowers.
Madam Vice President, I am so inspired by your authenticity and your commitment to constantly serving others. You are so unapologetically yourself and steadfast in your beliefs, and you are such a role model for Black women like myself. And here are your flowers.
But the thing that I really want you to also remember in that is that you are not alone. So don't ever let any situation or circumstance, and there will be times when you will be the only one that looks like you or has had your life experience in many rooms. And you have to remember moments like this. You have to remember all of us who are here. And remember, when you walk in those rooms, we're in that room with you. Okay? That's really important.
Madam Vice President, my name is Talia Harvey. Through your persistence in the face of adversity, you've shown me that when opportunity doesn't knock, to build a door and then hold it open for others to follow. Thank you so much, and here are your flowers.
Dear Madam Vice President, thank you for leading with poise, grace, and intellect. I hope to embody your presence in my professional journey to uplift underrepresented communities. Thank you for being an inspiration, and here are your flowers.
Madam Vice President, your ability to stay cool, calm, and collected in the face of negativity inspires me to remain true to myself and always strive to do what's right, not easy.
Madam Vice President, as a future lawyer, I am inspired by your consistent commitment to positive social change. Thank you for inspiring me and all the other future lawyers. Here are your flowers.